All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Philly Blitz's Thursday Night Football halftime show. I'm here with Quell and Coach. How you guys doing?
What up? What up?
I have no idea how I'm doing. This quarterback plays kind of stressing me out. On the New York Jets side,
Yeah,
Zach
Zach
Wilson,
Wilson, bro.
man, he tried. He tried. I saw some good things, and then I also saw some things where it was like, yeah, typical Zach Wilson.
You gotta give him time. Gotta give him time. We're in such a world where everybody wants that instant satisfaction. You have to give him time.
I don't know. I think the thing is, like I told you guys before we started recording, is having a defensive-minded head coach and a young quarterback is two things that do not mesh.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like we talked about before we got on was the importance of the relationship between a head coach and the quarterback, right? So, like, yeah, it's important to have a relationship between your offensive coordinator, your quarterback coach, quarterback, and everything. But regardless of offense, defensive minded head coach, that head coach quarterback relationship is extremely important in the development process. And it might not just be like X's and O's and on the field, but it's like confidence and understanding the person and understanding what makes them tick and how to talk to them, how to respond to them, how to handle their personality and handle them in situations and stuff. And, you can clearly see that that's lacking, with the New York Jets right now. And
Who would you blame
it's
that on?
unfortunate.
Who would you blame that on? Because I mean, there
Well,
have
it's
been
both. You can't just
things
pick
from
one
the
side. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like any other normal relationship. It's never just one sided, right? It's a two-way street. It's a give and take. So there's really not one person you can truly blame. So
I mean, I agree with you to an extent. I don't know, man. I've come to the point where, at least from my perspective, from the outside looking in, from everything that Robert Sala has said from the moment he took this job and Zach Wilson became his guy, he he feels like Zach Wilson is stubborn, for lack of a better term. And he always said, if you often listen to all his quotes dating back to even last year, they all often say the same things basically in black and white. I know you can do all the superhero things that we want to see the quarterbacks do. You're magnificent out of structure. Great job. But sometimes you just got to be able to do the simple things within the offense. For some reason, he just doesn't want to do it, and it makes it even worse because we do all this preaching. We did all this preaching the other day about how Kyle Shanahan is doing with Brock Purdy, and just in general about how quarterback friendly that system is. Look at what Mike McDaniel is doing with Tua, and it's not like he's not playing in that similar kind of system. What's his name? It's not Matt LaFleur. It's Mike LaFleur. It's one of the
yeah,
It's
this is
two.
his brother.
It's his
Yeah,
brother.
I
Yeah,
just know it's the brother. I can't remember which name it is. I think it's Mike. Mike
Yeah.
LaFleur. You got Mike LaFleur as your offensive coordinator. Again, similar scheme, similar concepts. So, like, it's not like they don't try to make life easy on him, but sometimes Zach Wilson just has to understand when enough is enough in a play. He got what I like to call Carson Wentz syndrome, where sometimes you want to be Superman so bad that you got to realize the play might be dead, or just make the smarter decision. Like I seen him make a decision earlier in the game where he finally checked down to the running back Zonovan Knight. Zonovan Knight picked up a first down on the play, and the commentators immediately started talking about those the type of plays that they want to see from him as a coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you just gotta help yourself, which is why I asked the question, who do you blame in this? Because I mean, of course, you like you said, it's always a two-way street. It's always something that they can do better, just like it's always something he can do better. But it
Yeah.
just doesn't look really good on his part.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I see, with this whole dynamic with the Jets is it feels like a square peg in a round hole, right? Like, I know if, y'all listening, if you've heard me talk in the past, right, I always talk about, fitting a system around what your quarterback does well, right? Not trying to
Mm.
force your quarterback into your system. What I'm looking at here is I'm looking at them trying to force Zach Wilson into that Shanahan style system. And that might not be what he's comfortable with. He might not be comfortable with at the stage of his career right now working and getting to checkdowns and taking that easy 3 to 5 yard throw and, letting the guy do the work. Like that might not just be something that he's comfortable with or used to doing, and that's not saying that it's right? Like when you get to this level, you have to be able to do that stuff. Like you have to be excellent at the easy things, at the simple things, at the, the things that are boring to work on and teach and do within the game of football at the position, right? Like rolling against your body, rolling left and throwing across the field 40, 50, 60 yards. That's fun. Everybody loves doing that. Everybody wants to do that. And he's just blessed with the ability to do it. But going through your first, second, third read and then finding your check down and getting that nice easy outlet throw and letting that guy do the work, that might not be as exciting, right? And for a lot of guys that have the talent that he has, it's hard for them to get that through their head. And that just comes with maturity, and that comes with time, like playing and failing, making the mistakes and learning from them. But you have to have somebody there to teach you how to learn from them properly. And that goes back to the relationship aspect between coaches and players. You have to be able to understand how to teach that to your player. And if you don't know how to, and you don't take the time and put the energy into finding out how to, this is what it's going to turn out to be. And this is what it's going to look like. And it's unfortunate. So that's where I get it's both. I feel like they're forcing him to be something that he's not or do something that he's not. Like they're trying to force him to be what they want instead of saying, all right, we know what you're really good at. We know what you are. We're going to slowly try to get you to be what we want while already, doing the things that we know you're comfortable with and you're really good at.
So as you were talking, I kind of, while I still stand on what I said at first, I kind of agree with what you're saying to an extent. Because the one thing I noticed as I was just speaking a second ago as to all these Shanahan offenses that are around the league, how prevalent they are and all of that. The one thing I do notice about a lot of them, because you can pick Matt LaFleur, Zach Taylor. The one thing I know about, I've seen about a lot of those systems, while they do have they share the same principles, they all found a way to mold themselves into their own. Like you won't watch a 49ers game and see them go 5 wide or empty as much as you'll watch when you watch a Bengals game.
You're going to see 11, 12 personnel. Mm-hmm. You'll even see 13.
So they found a way, as you said, to adapt to their quarterback. They found ways to basically mold the offense into their own kind of thing. Even when you talk about what we got going on in Philadelphia, where we did all this talking about, oh, yeah, we were successful when we had a Frank Wright-led offense. We got Frank Wright's protege. But, yeah, while Nick Sirianni brought a bunch of Frank Wright concepts and principles, him and Shane Steichen did a great job of taking what they had and the systems and the player that they had and molding it into something of their own. So, again, I do agree with you saying when you say it's both sides. When you watch a Jets game, or come into their own, showing what they want to do as their own group.
No, I got you. And what's funny? Like when you mentioned, you're looking at all the different Shanahan style systems right now in the NFL, right? Look at the quarterbacks that run those teams. What are like common things with all those guys?
Game managers.
I wouldn't even say game managers. The one thing that sticks out to me is they're guys that are loaded with experience, whether it was a ton of experience at college or a lot of experience in the NFL, right? And they do the simple things very, very well, and they don't necessarily show or consistently show the ability to do the extravagant things that you see Rodgers do, that you see Zach Wilson be able to do and stuff like that, right? Like they don't really do the cross-body throws across the field where, they're chucking it 65 yards down the field to the opposite hash, right? Like you don't see them really doing that kind of stuff. You see a lot of, the old school mold of quarterbacks. And we look at that now in today's world as game managers, right? That's kind of how we categorize it and we look at it, which game manager isn't supposed to be a knock on somebody. It's like describing a style of the quarterback in today, right? It's not a negative. It's just it's a different category. You're in a different family of style of quarterback today, right? So like if you ask me, If you throw Jalen Hurts into a Kyle Shanahan system, I don't think Jalen Hurts is doing what he's doing today. Because I just don't think that it fits what he does really well. I think you see the Jalen Hurts when he was at Alabama. That's what I think you'll end up seeing. Where it's like, yeah, he does some really good things, but like he's never going to be able to take you over the top because you're not expressing and enhancing his great qualities and his elite traits that he has. You know what I mean? Where
Are you saying specifically about the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan in general, or just the system?
So, like, think about the system. Name the teams outside of Aaron Rodgers, because you can't name a guy that's one of the greatest talents at the quarterback position ever and use him in this conversation. That's unfair. It's like an outlier. But name me the teams that run the Shanahan system, or at least a similar style, outside of the 49ers.
Miami, the Rams, Tennessee, the Bengals, Washington to an extent. I feel like I'm missing a couple. Oh, the Jets. We was just talking about the Jets.
And the Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those five, the first five that you named, those quarterbacks. Now, don't get me wrong. Joe Burrow's great. Love him. Probably one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league right now. I think I personally would take him. Oh, I don't know if I should say this. If there's people watching, I'd take him over Patrick Mahomes. I would.
Whoa.
I would. As a true quarterback, playing the position the right way.
I can understand.
He plays the position of quarterback better than anybody in the league right now. He just does. But think about those players on those teams that you just named. Do they fit the mold of what I just described for a Shanahan-style system? They do, right? And then that 6th team that you named was the Jets with Zach Wilson. Does Zach Wilson fit that mold of those quarterbacks that are usually successful in a Shanahan-style system? I'm going to answer for you. It's no.
That's the thing, though. The difference between – that's why I asked if you meant specifically the 49ers and Shanahan or in general, because like I said a second ago, like you said, why it's a both sides problem is because the Jets haven't found a way to identify what they want to do offensively. When you talk about some of these other teams, like when you look at Miami,
there's no identity.
System. What do you mean there's no identity?
For the Jets?
The Jets. The Jets
they have no identity.
Oh. When you look at Miami, you see while that's a Shanahan system, you see how Mike McDaniels is kind of, like I said, molded into his own. You see a bunch of RPOs. I don't think you ever see a lot of RPOs in a Shanahan system in general. But you see how he's doing. You see Zach Taylor over there where he molded to what his quarterback was comfortable with. He understood with Joe Burrow, how he worked down at LSU. You were most comfortable. You told that coaching staff you were most comfortable when you had control of the whole field. Spread all my guys out and let me work. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to change up what I like. And that's where you get in the situations where, like the Bengals earlier in the season, led the league in first down rushing attempts because sometimes I want to get back to my bread and butter and what I like to do. But for the most part, the base of my offense is kind of enhancing what my quarterback's talent is. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't necessarily say a Shanahan offense. The pure Shanahan offense, well, yeah, you're right. Game manager, all that, it'll work like that. That's what's going on in LA, and that's what's going on in San Francisco. Those are pure versions of the Shanahan offense. But in terms of some of the variations you see across the league, I think you see a decent job. Maybe Tennessee.
Name the variations, though. You name Cincinnati. What other variation would there be? Outside of Cincinnati and the Rams with Stafford. Because the Rams without Stafford is the Shanahan offense. The Rams with Stafford is more of similar to the Bengals style offense.
To an extent. But even then, like I said, Miami. I mean, like, I don't want to act like it's every team in the, like Washington. No. Jets, of course not, like we just said. The Titans, of course not. I think the Titans, they have the identity to be if they would actually do something decent with Malik Willis and his skill set. But for some reason, they choose to be stubborn about that. So they
I told you what it is, bro. I told you what it is. Vero hates Malik Willis.
I mean, if that's
Who?
going to be a quarterback for the future, or at least for the rest of this season, if what the reports about Tannehill are true, then I mean, you're gonna have to figure something out because that's your guy. Either that or you're gonna play the bench player. Good luck with that.
I don't know. It's like whenever he's out there, it's like they're just throwing him out there. Like you gonna sink or you gonna swim.
Oh, let me
Like it
give you
doesn't feel like there's
that's
a.
the NFL, bro. That's the
I mean,
NFL.
no,
Man,
no,
look,
I
look.
get it, but
All right,
it just doesn't.
all
It
right.
just
So
doesn't
you,
seem like there's a.
Pierre, you can't have that way of looking at it with just Malik Willis, and then not be able to look at it the same exact way with Zach Wilson.
Oh well, yeah, no, I definitely, yeah, I get it. I can see how it's two similar situations. It's
I
just
know.
Zach Wilson, the talent, like we talked about, the talent is there with him. It's clearly there.
The talent's there
But
with
It's
Malik
just,
Willis. We damn saw him throw the ball through the freaking roof in Indianapolis during his damn combine. Like the talent's there.
it's bigger than the talent. Eventually, with Zach Wilson, we get to a point like, what more do you want from me?
You
Like the
want to know what
team
the difference
invested.
is?
They
The difference is where they were drafted. If
mm,
Malik Willis was drafted number 2 overall and he was playing and he played in the times that he has played this year, he looked the way that he did, he was drafted number 2 overall. Oh man, we'd be having a whole different tune to our voice when we're talking about him. If Zach Wilson was drafted where Malik Willis was drafted and he's playing like he is, we wouldn't be on as you know what like we are right now when we're watching him play. And it's fair. It's fair to look at Zach Wilson the way that everybody is and the way that we are and talking about him that way. It's completely fair to judge him like that. Right? But we got to make sure that the energy stays the same. And you got to remove the draft position and the expectations off of that, right? You got to look at it and be like, go ahead.
Even then, I removed draft expectations and draft positioning and all of that. The only difference between these two right now is one that's in his rookie year. And when Zach Wilson was in his rookie year playing next to almost nobody other than Elijah Moore, it was okay, we'll get better soon. We're going to get him some guys. We just want him to look decent. And I mean, I don't understand why Malik Willis isn't getting the same. I mean, yeah, Malik Willis isn't giving the same energy. But I
He also
mean,
hasn't
if
been
you
on the
look at
field enough for people to create that energy. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't really had the opportunities enough to have that kind of energy towards Malik Willis. Right. Like, I mean, how many games has he played this year? 4?
I like
3?
three or four.
That's not really fair. Right. That's like judging Jalen Hurts off his rookie year when he played the last couple games of the season. That's idiotic.
But I just think with Zach Wilson, I mean, we've come to a point where you see a team that has supplied you, like they've invested in a multitude of weapons to surround you with. They invested in a coaching staff that they would like to think will make life easier on you. Like, at what point is the franchise able to sit here and say, look, our hands are tied. We done tried everything possible to get you to become the quarterback we thought you could be. And you just don't seem to be getting it. And that's not saying you're not going to be a good quarterback. Hell, look at Ryan Tannehill from the difference between Miami and the difference between Tennessee. Sometimes a change of scenery might be best for somebody. But
change of position might be best for him. Head on back to his Texas A&M days when he was a freshman. Give him a set of cutters. Give him some gloves.
I just think that at some point we got to look at Zach Wilson like, okay, Zach, you like this was heading into the season. This was supposed to be the big year. Like before he suffered that knee injury against us in the preseason game, this was supposed to be Zach Wilson was taking the next step. We was hearing all this stuff prior to the season. And I mean, I understand missing time and at the end of camp and all that stuff might set you back a bit. But you were there all camp. You missed the last couple of weeks. The guys you was throwing to for 9 times out of 10 at the start of camp are the guys that was probably gonna make the roster. and you were trying to figure out who's going to be the bottom of the barrel, especially when you talk about the Jets. You knew Zach Wilson. I mean, you knew Elijah Moore was going to be there. You knew Garrett Wilson was going to be there. You knew Corey Davis was going to be there. The same guys you were throwing to all summer. You say Corey Davis stinks?
He stinks.
Oh, no, you can't do that, bro.
He stinks.
You cannot say that.
He's bad. All right, I won't say he stinks. He's just bad. Is that better? Proper?
He's not bad. He's just
player.
Not quite where he was drafted.
He's a bad football
and
player.
That's like you said, right?
Huh?
I say he's not bad. He's just not quite where he was drafted. And that's okay, like you said, right?
No, he's bad. But like, I mean, I try to look. I have a habit, whether it's good or bad, of giving people the benefit of the doubt. Probably too much. So I'm looking at Zach Wilson and I'm looking at the timeline from camp to now, and just thinking about all the, part of my language, bullshit that he's had to deal with. That some was created by himself, right? Right. He created some of the stuff, like not taking accountability and responsibility and, you know, the onus for his play on the field and how it can affect the other areas of his team, because it is his team. At the end of the day, when you're supposed to be the franchise quarterback, it's your team, right? So he created some of the stuff, but he gets hurt right before the season starts. Like, that sucks. I don't care what anybody says about, hey, you were there the majority of camp, you know, it's right before the season starts. That sucks, man. Like, that mentally, that sets you back. It sets you back, especially as a young player with a lot of promise coming in, a lot of hype, right? Like, that sets you back when you get hurt like that, and you're like, man, like, now it's just another obstacle that I got to overcome. And as a young man, like, he is still a young man, we also have to remember that. Like, it might be a little bit more difficult for someone like him, you know, to get over. I just had a conversation with my wife. You know, she asked me about Zach Wilson. I was like, she's like, well, I don't understand, like, why he acts so immature like that. Jalen Hurts doesn't act immature like that. Trevor Lawrence doesn't act immature like that. And I was like, but you can't compare them. You got to understand their background. Like, Trevor Lawrence was named Peyton Manning 2.0 from the time he was like an 8th grader. Jalen Hurts grew up in a household where his father was a head football coach at a big-time Texas high school football program. Then he went and played at Alabama for Nick Saban, and he was the first freshman quarterback ever for Nick Saban to start as a true freshman, and all of that pressure at Alabama. So, like, they were forced to turn into mature individuals and leaders of men at a young age because of all those expectations in those environments. Zach Wilson was never a part of that, right? So, like, he might not be built to overcome adversity like that so quickly, right? And then he went 5-2. People forget that. Like, he might not have played the greatest, but he was still a starting quarterback of an NFL football franchise, and he had a record of 5-2 this season. Then he made that immature, ignorant comment where he didn't take responsibility, or, you know, he didn't hold himself accountable in a press conference after a game, right, that they lost. And now you have everybody, especially in the New York media, New York market, like, now you have the entire world against you, not just your teammates. So that's more adversity that he had to go through. Then, oh no, sorry, I was just watching him play. Then he gets benched. Then he gets benched, like, not even just benched. He gets told, I don't want you to dress. Don't even dress. Don't even dress. So think about what that does to a young person's psyche that might already be a little fragile, right? Just think about what that does. Then he comes back and he plays. I thought he played a pretty good game last week. Not a great game, but a good game. And they lost. And then you turn the TV on Monday, and all people are talking about is how he's still part of the problem of why they're losing, and how Mike White should come back and start. Right? So, like, it's constant, like, there's no support for the young man, constant adversity, constant, like, he has to overcome obstacles that, one, he created some of them, and two, they're just being thrown into his lap. And he might not be built at this point in time to deal with that stuff. And that's fair to look at it that way and say it. It's fair to look at it that way. So,
Why
I mean,
is
it's
it fair to look at that way, Coach? We are sitting
stressing
here
him
and
out.
everything. Like, take everything that you're saying and take the emotion out of what you're saying.
I can't. I'm a football coach that cares about my players that I coach. There's a 0% chance that you'll ever be able to take emotion out of anything that I say.
This and to imagine if Jalen Hurts wasn't like flip spots. If Jalen Hurts was the quarterback of the New York Jets and Zach Wilson was over here in Philadelphia playing the same way, you wouldn't be saying it like this.
I mean,
Because
that would be
at
the
some
fan
point,
in me.
you gotta look at a player like, look, what are you doing? Oh my gosh.
Stay on topic. Come on, Quill. Stay on topic. Come on. No, I mean, I get it. I understand what you're saying. Listen, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I'm trying to, see it from different angles, all sides and everything. Bottom line right now, he stinks. He's bad. He's a bad football player right now playing in the NFL. Now, it's fair to say there are a lot of factors and reasons to why that is occurring. It still doesn't take away the fact that he is playing very bad football right now. And at the end of the day, no one cares about the excuses, Zach. You better fix it because you're getting paid a lot of money. You're a starting quarterback for the greatest sport in the entire world that is watched by every eye in this country pretty much at this point, right? So, like, at the end of the day, no one cares, dude. So what, now what? All right? So what, now what? Show me what you got. Get better. Because at the end of the day, that's all that people care about.
I don't know. For me, I don't think like I get what you're saying, Quell, but I don't think you can just look at it like from an individualized approach. Like I said at the beginning, I think just the situation he's in, it's not conducive for success. I don't think.
I can agree to an extent, but I don't think that's all the way to the fault of the franchise. I think, well, I don't want to say it's to the fault of the franchise. Like I said before we got on pod, you got a kid from the middle of Utah.
You said Iowa.
I said the middle of nowhere.
You said Iowa. Pierre, back me.
Iowa.
I said Iowa.
The point being,
I think he said
middle of,
nowhere.
I said Iowa. I said Iowa.
You
But
did? Okay.
the point being, you got a kid from the middle of nowhere, and you want him to come be the quarterback of the New York Jets in the market where that's probably the biggest market, not just in all of sports, but just in all of media. Why would you do that to him? Like,
there's a reason Mike Greenberg was so mad before the draft 2 years ago when the Jets won at the end of the season and they lost out on the number 1 pick because he knew they weren't getting Trevor Lawrence. He was so mad. I still remember that.
That whole quarterback process, and it's going to happen again this year, but that whole quarterback process, it gets strange once draft season comes around. You watch 6 months of football, you figure out who a player is, and then you watch a guy in gym shorts throw a ball around and hear about how he interviewed, and all of a sudden, it's God's gift to a franchise, man. It's mind blowing.
Some team is going to take Will Levis in the top 5. Watch.
Oh, I know. Will Levis just might be the second quarterback off the board, brother. And I won't.
Some people have him as their number 1 quarterback on the board.
That's nasty. That is nasty.
Think about that. Think about that and then try to relate that and think about the world that we live in, that there are NFL people. I think Will Levis is the number 1 quarterback on the board coming into this draft.
That is nasty.
Brother, I've heard from a bunch of people that I'm very confident in. They've said that the NFL's had their eye on Will Levis since last year. They are in love and they're 100% sure that not only is he going to kill it when he's throwing the ball around in gym shorts, but they're 100% sure that in the interview process, some general manager is going to fall in love with him, and it wouldn't be surprising if it was one of them teams in the top 3 picks, or a team that's willing to move up to the top 3 pick to come get him.
It's the Kentucky Carson Wentz.
That's the first time I heard that.
It's gonna be really interesting, man. I mean, you banking on a lot with Will. We'll get into that conversation at some point, but
oh yeah, we will.
Sometimes you just don't have to overthink it. Like I tell y'all every year when we do this, draft good football players, y'all. Look at the tape, trust what you see, and draft good football players.
Mm-hmm. Draft not even just football players, good football players. Draft winners. Draft winners, guys that win. Because that's a mindset, that's a mentality. When you come from a winning culture, a winning background, that's ingrained in you, and that follows you. You carry yourself with a different swagger, a different attitude, a different approach. Shoot, look at CJ Stroud now compared to like his freshman year. His freshman year, I guarantee if you walked up to him, he probably looked like a scared puppy dog coming from Rancho Cucamonga, California to the Horseshoe. And now you watch him walk around, even though he walks goofy. You watch him walk around, right? And he looks like a CEO of a program. Like he looks like that's his program whenever he walks around. That's what winning does.
Yeah. Yes. And I like to say
stamp on that. That's what winning does.
It says a lot. It's not even just winning, but it says a lot. The one thing I said all season long before I got on the whole process, and that his ball placement might be his best trait. All season long, his best trait to me was his leadership. I didn't see another quarterback in the country that had the leadership that he did. He commanded the room, and I don't know, man. The way he can command the room.
I mean, I know you watch the Buckeyes every Saturday, but
no. Don't get me wrong. Because if you think about who I think you think about, Bryce has tremendous leadership. Bryce is a leader, but Bryce is one of them leaders that he's one of them when I think about Jalen Hurts, he's one of them leaders where if I gotta do it myself, I'm gonna go do it. We're gonna win this game though. That's the only thing that matters to this. Oh, yeah. We're gonna get it done. When I think about CJ, when I say leader, it's look, y'all. We in this together. I need you to be your best self. I need me to be my best. Like we got it. It's a team thing. He gets the best out of every player that he plays with. I can't necessarily say that about Bryce Young because I watched him throw the ball to Jermaine Burton this year. So, and I watched Bryce Young saying, "Damn, you the best player on this field." But I also watched CJ Stroud. Now I sat here and watched him make other players players who I certainly wasn't a fan of, like Julian Fleming heading into the season. Okay. I see you can get the most out of a guy like Julian. I appreciate that. Because it certainly didn't look like it was much to get out of him at first.
Go side note, go watch Julian Fleming's highlight reel from his high school days. My man has about 13 one-step slant routes that he took about 75 yards, and that was like his entire highlight reel. You know why? Because he played for a damn wing tee program that's a 3A program in Pennsylvania, and he was a wide receiver that was friggin' 6'2", 6'3", and he was bigger than, the 5'8" kid that needs like a cheeseburger or two before he puts his pads on to make weight to play at a high school level.
Hey, it's crazy you say it like this, and maybe you can give me a better perspective on this because I've never went back to watch it. I'm not going to lie. But this was one of my, I should have put this in that article I released, the type of things that got me into.
I'm sorry, they benched him.
Did
they? Sucks. Yep. Ain't even give me my one touchdown.
I know they put, I think his name is Strevler. I know they put him in on a play in the first half for just it was like a quarterback running play, but did they officially take him out the game?
It looks like it.
I honestly think that's what's best for him right now.
What do you mean right now? His career in New York is over, bro. You can't bench a young quarterback twice.
No, especially not in the same season. Absolutely not.
If that's your guy, come on, bro. His career
within 5 weeks.
It's over.
Within 4.5 weeks, actually.
A second ago, Coach, he was sitting at 5-2. considering all the hype that they had heading into the season, consider everything that went wrong in terms of his injury, for him to be sitting at 5-2 before that dumb situation happened, it's pretty mind-boggling how we ended up here, man.
Now we're gonna show clips of Mike
Fans
LaFleur
cheering.
actually coaching. You see all these coaches now, they want to put the video on them. They're actually coaching. They're actually like leaning forward in their chairs over their call sheets and they're talking into the mic. They're actually coaching hard. It's crazy, isn't it? They just don't like him. They don't like him. That image that I just saw there of Mike LaFleur leaning forward and like his whole body language of calling in that next play, it just shows me right there. Like they just don't like him.
Honestly, how I think it went, especially given the offseason that it happened in, the offseason where, of course, you see Sean McVay over there looking on the other side watching his protege, Matt LaFleur, call them same type of plays in the same system with Aaron Rodgers on that side of the ball. And it made him sit here and say, well, I wonder what my system could do with a better type of quarterback. And you look at the New York Jets, who was sitting there picking earlier in the draft. And I mean, granted, we understand how the whole draft process works. We talked about that earlier. But the New York Jets with an opportunity to get their hands on a quarterback who many people projected to be one of those high ceiling type of guys. I mean, why wouldn't you? They
you know
thought
what the difference is? You know what the difference is? LaFleur and McVay are both established, great play callers that know their system, and they've coached and called plays in their system before for many years, and they were running their own football team running that same system. Mike LaFleur, first-time offensive coordinator. Like the experience factor of it. The experience factor.
He called plays though. I think it was like a mixed job between him and McDaniel.
It was him and McDaniel. Yeah, they were kind of like offensive coordinators.
Listen, I know what you think.
Stop it.
I know who Kyle Shanahan is too, and that's his baby. And if you think he ain't got a hands-on approach with his baby, you are tripping. I get what you're thinking. I understand it. I get it. But I don't. Based on what was told, I ain't giving him that excuse of you ain't never called plays or anything before. Because based on what everybody was saying, you called plays, or you was given an opportunity to at a point, and supposedly you look good. So,
what were you saying before? What were you saying before about the Julian Fleming thing? What were you saying? Seriously, though, I want to know.
But
something about his highlight tape, and you said you can give me a little insight. I don't know what you were going to ask.
Oh, it wasn't his highlight tape in general. I asked you, could you give me a little insight? I was looking at it. Calvin Johnson highlights back then. And I mean, of course, in hindsight, we saw what the hell Calvin Johnson became and who he was. This Megatron. How could you ask this type of question? But I feel like that's kind of why we end up in a lot of the positions. That's kind of why a lot of people rank Quentin Johnston as their wide receiver 1 this year, because we get so caught up in some of these guys that's like you built. And I'm not calling him Megatron. He ain't.
See
Megatron.
How he does against Will Johnson.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
We'll lock his ass up.
I'm here for that.
I'm gonna lock his vertical post corner route running ass up.
Listen, he ain't got.
He's got a three-way go.
You doing my job, man. I'm here. I'm supposed to be saying that.
He goes this way, or he goes this way.
That's a piece of you. Look, bro. I done already told myself.
They're not ready, man. I'm telling you, they're not ready. They're not ready for Big Ten defenses getting their hands on them. They are not ready for it. TCU is going to get slapped in the mouth, and they are going to look around like, yo, this isn't.
He's either going to be, in terms of him as an NFL prospect, he's either going to be Dez Bryant or he's going to be Kevin White.
Kevin White, yeah. That's what I was going to say. He's going to be Kevin White. Literally as soon as I watched him against Texas, that's just who I thought about.
So let me ask you guys this. Y'all say that Zach Wilson's career in New York is over, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's done.
Where does he go from here?
Hopefully back to Utah.
Ain't no damn team in Utah.
That's the point.
I said Tennessee.
That'll
But
be all right.
if we're going from one, like the same system to the same system, probably not. So I'm going to go with Pierre's answer, and I'm going to say Atlanta.
That'll be interesting. I could see him. See, that's the thing. I don't think, well, he doesn't look very successful in this system. I think it's a multitude of things why that's the case. Because I was watching this game, and in the first 2 minutes of this game, the first thing I tweeted was, the kid out there playing 2 games. The first pass he made that was off the mark, he heard 800 boos in that stadium. He playing against the Jaguars and the fans right now. I think if he was able to take a lot of what he learned here and went over to Tennessee and tried to apply it, he might be a bit more successful. Granted, that still won't get the most out of Zach Wilson. So if you're looking for the team to get the most out of him, not really. But I think he might be all right in Tennessee. He just needs to get out of that New York spotlight first and foremost. That's the problem.
What about
Colts?
LA?
The Rams? They said Stafford's coming back next year.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Stafford's going to last another like 2 years, bro. You know that. Come on.
So what about Baker?
What about Baker?
That's your project quarterback right there. You don't need to.
You're gonna listen. I'll take a guy that is a legitimate rotational thrower of a football and has that skill set than a dude that thinks he's a rotational thrower but is a linear thrower. Watch Baker Mayfield. He's got like a 3-foot stride into every throw, and he's already damn 5'11". So by the time he releases the ball, he's at like 5'8".
I could do y'all one better. I started by saying, I don't know if y'all heard me when I said it. I started by saying Washington. I don't think that, based on exactly how they've done in their trade marketing.
I don't think Ron Rivera would like him, man. I think Ron Rivera would beat him up.
What? Then when I said Washington, it made me think, what about, never mind, that won't work. He'd still be in New York.
No, say it.
I think him with the Giants might be something, though. I think Dabble could work with him.
Yeah, I mean that'd be interesting. That'd be cool.
He don't ask you to do nothing you're not good at. He gonna take everything you're not good at out of the playbook. He gonna work with your strengths. So I could actually picture Brian Dabble working with him.
I could see it. I mean, removing the Eagle fan in me, I think that would be fun to watch.
Right.
Play out. You know what I mean? Like I would actually enjoy it. Like that'd be something I would really look forward to watching throughout an entire season. Those two, kind of that whole dynamic. If he would go to a place like that, I don't see it because, like you said, I don't think if he leaves, which is most likely is what's going to happen, he ain't staying anywhere near New York.
What about two teams that just popped into my head? Indianapolis and Tampa Bay.
What about Oakland? Or not Oakland.
Las Vegas. But they got to figure out what they're doing at coach first. Tampa Bay, no.
You're going from a defensive-minded coach to another defensive-minded coach in Todd Bowles.
Yeah. And, I mean, you can make the argument that Brown and Leftwich is there, but based on what you've seen this year and about from Brown and Leftwich is certainly a step back from.
Well, yeah, it's because the offensive mind is not there every day in the room anymore in Bruce Arians. Byron Leftwich did a great job of taking his mentor's offense and just calling plays off of it. And he did a phenomenal job of getting to know Brady and know what he was good at and understand what he liked, what he didn't like, and calling plays off of it. He did a phenomenal job with that. But this year's offense is not Bruce Arians' offense. Watch it. It's not Bruce Arians' offense. And you see what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. I knew it wasn't Bruce Arians' offense when they started running the ball every other damn play. I'm like, Bruce would never. Bruce up there in the front office looking like, what are you doing? Why are you running the damn ball so damn much? He probably said it just like that.
He's got his damn Arnold Palmer hat on with a cigar and fucking scotch in his hand.
He's angry. He see everything he don't like. He see running the ball. He see the tight ends getting the ball or majority of the routes. He like, I would never do this. Did I teach this kid? What offense is he running?
Did they bring Gronk back?
Like he is sick up here
on the ball. Oh man. I mean, what about Las Vegas?
Derek Carr's there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of. I don't know what's going on there, man. There's something going on there.
The only thing that's saving Derek Carr, I won't say they're going to get rid of Carr. The only thing that's saving Carr is the fact that, I mean, granted, he signed a deal and he locked in there now, but I'm pretty sure the first reason that Davante Adams went there was to play with Derek Carr. So
no, first reason Davante Adams went there was for this.
I mean,
then he was like, and I get to play with my best friend from college. All right,
You don't think it was another team that would have paid? You don't think the Jets would have came up off that?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the Jets.
Everybody
I guarantee you the Jets weren't offering what Las Vegas was offering.
I don't
and
know.
then that's when you add the dynamic in of his best friend being Derek Carr.
I got to go check out the contracts and see who got paid more, Tyreek or Davante.
Tyreek.
I do know Tyreek. Well, I do. Then that means that the Jets offer more, because I do know Tyreek said the Jets offer much more money than the Dolphins did. He just wanted to come to Miami.
Oh yeah, I would want to go to Miami too. Look at the head coaches. You tell me I get to go play for a genius, or I get to go play for a guy that looks like he could beat the hell out of my dad, me, and my uncle at the same time. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the genius.
Yep. See,
but we are nearly 46 minutes or 47 minutes into this, and we have not discussed the main team at hand, right?
Avoiding it here.
Pierre's over here. He's got beads of sweat rolling down his forehead.
What you said?
I said Pierre's got beads of sweat rolling down his forehead. He's like, we haven't talked about the Eagles yet, guys. Oh my gosh, we got to get on this.
Philadelphia Eagles do have a game on Saturday.
Yes, they do.
They do. Jalen Hurts. Yeah, that's what the word on the street is. So, our resident quarterback coach Tags, right?
Quell.
So, one of the things that I've been wondering about with Jalen's strained shoulder, which I know, like, of course there is a game, but I'm thinking more big picture. Like looking down the road, like with the playoffs looming and even, 2 games remaining on the schedule after this one on Saturday, what like impact or whatever do you see the strained shoulder having? Because I know it is his throwing arm.
I mean, it's hard. Like if you're not there in person with the individual, it's kind of hard. 'Cause it depends on the severity of the strain. It depends on the specific location of the strain in the shoulder, right? And then like the pain tolerance thing with it all. So, I mean, a lot of times with this stuff, it's, you have to rest, you gotta, it's like pretty much you gotta just lay off it, man. Like let it rest up, let it kind of get a little stronger. It's probably not going to heal fully, even close to fully heal throughout the rest of the season. So that's when it comes down to pain tolerance. Now, my worry with Jalen is just the way that he throws with a shoulder strain. Because so think about like if you're here, right? So like you get like that 90-degree out with your bicep, right? And then you go up with your forearm, right? Like this is technically like a natural arm slot for someone. You watch pitchers throw in baseball, you watch middle infielders, third baseman, right? They're usually right around this general area right here, right? Jalen is all the way up here. So like think about that stress that he's already putting on his shoulder by being so over the top and high with his elbow drive through the zone when he's throwing, right? What are you laughing at? Stop laughing at me, Quell. All right.
I'm not laughing at you.
I'm gonna block you. But that's what worries me because he already put stress by getting that high elbow coming through. So depending on where the strain is in his shoulder, right, that would kind of be my concern. Again, I mean, he's a tough dude. He's probably one of those guys that, that I've coached where, they could literally be walking off the field with like 4 of their 5 fingers on one hand, like hanging off their body. And they'd be like, nah, coach, like, I'm good. I'm not hurt. What are you talking about? I'm good to go. Like, that's what Jalen strikes me as. So, I mean, I think it's going to come down to how much he can deal with uncomfortableness and pain in general. And then they just have to be really smart with their play calls and the positions that they put him in. And he has to also be smart about it too. Like when they do read option, right? Don't just pull it all the time because you look at the guy that's playing DN or your read key and you say, yeah, I'm a better athlete. I'm a better football player than that guy. So I'm just going to keep it regardless because I know I'm going to beat him. Like maybe don't do that. Maybe like actually go back to the fundamentals of reading him. And if he gives you the pull read, then you pull it and go. You know what I mean? So in terms of his health moving forward, he's not going to be healthy. He's just going to have to deal with pain.
So do you think that him, staying in the game, in the Chicago game and, being able to, throw the ball as well as he did after the injury, do you think
That's
that
just a
has
tough
any bearing on
SOB.
anything?
That's a tough SOB doing something like that, man. Because I can tell you right now, like I've strained my shoulder before. Like I've had fat people fall on top of me and hurt my shoulder before. And like it hurts to lift your arm up like this. So for him to be able to throw the football numerous times after that down the field, like that's just high pain tolerance. Like, and that a lot of that probably is like adrenaline and everything like that, especially in the weather and conditions that he played in. Everything gets tighter. Everything gets more rigid. Like you feel everything a little bit more when it's cold outside. Right. So like for him to be able to do that, that just shows like he has a very high pain tolerance. I mean, that's impressive. It's good to have. I would be more worried about the long term, like heading into the off season and next year and things like that. Like the last thing that I want to see is him put up with it too much, just to finish off the year, which I understand. Like there's a lot to play for and everything, Super Bowl, playoffs, #1 seed. I get it. Right. And as a fan, I'm sitting here going, suck it up, dude. Like just suit up and play. I don't care. I want a Super Bowl right now. But as like the coach in me, I look at it as like, all right, man, like you really have to be careful. And if it gets to a point where it's like serious pain that you're dealing with, I'm going to shut you down because I'm looking at signing you to an extension and I'm looking at you being my franchise quarterback for not just the next 5 weeks or whatever it might be, 4 weeks, whatever, right? I'm looking at you being my quarterback for the next 10 years.
I know it's definitely hard conversations they're gonna have to have over the course of the next few weeks.
Now, if he wasn't like if his throwing motion wasn't so drastic up here, I probably wouldn't be as concerned with him throwing the ball and causing more uncomfortableness and pain in that area. Which I know we talked about this last year and during the offseason about that. That was one of the things that I brought up, which is very difficult to change a guy's throwing motion. It's difficult to do it for a kid in high school, just like revamping throwing motions. Like it's one of those things you really don't want to touch because at that point it's like a zebra doesn't change its stripes, right? Like, and you don't want to force it because you could probably end up doing more harm than good if you try to force that on someone. But it's a slight concern.
Okay, so that goes into what I was going to ask, because based on how you guys are saying, y'all kind of giving me concern. Y'all sound like the national media right now. Like, based on what I've heard everybody around say, it doesn't seem like a significant concern. I mean, of course, you want to protect your quarterback, hence why he's not playing this week. But how I like to view it, at least shoulder strains like that. How I like to view those type of injuries, AC joints, and all of those are in two views: the Justin Fields lens, and the Dak Prescott lens. Because immediately what came to mind was those two injuries, and Jalen Hurts being hurt, coming back playing exactly where would he be at when he plays? Because I don't know if well, I'm sure you guys remember, but you guys remember that I think it was like a December 22nd game against Dallas, and Dak missed a couple games and he came back for the Philly game, but
It was
they were
in Philly,
saying
right?
something was wrong with his shoulder. Yeah,
Yeah,
something was wrong with his shoulder and all of that.
I was in the end zone close to 95 during that game with
Matter of fact,
Okay,
my wife.
that was the game. I think that was the game I went to. 2019.
I really.
No way. I would have known you were there, and I would have found you.
That was with Wentz, right?
Yeah.
It was in like December.
That was my Wednesday the
It
practice
was
squad.
cold.
Yeah, I was at that game. That was my first season.
And don't hit me up when he comes to my city. That's all right. All right, I get it.
But I mean, of course, as an Eagles fan, you watch the game like, yeah, Dak, you suck, all that. But generally, as a football fan, you watch the game and you could kind of tell that his shoulder wasn't 100%. Like where the team will, of course, want him to be. Hence why he didn't practice much of that week. But then, of course, like I said prior to that, or the other side of this lens is the Justin Fields view, where the Bears had him out for a week or two, and he's come back, and I mean, he seems to be playing perfectly fine, at least in terms of throwing the ball and all the things of that nature.
Justin's got good mechanics, so Justin's got very good mechanics. Justin's a lower body thrower, where Dak's not. So, like that's I know it sounds insignificant, but it's very, very significant with the two. Like watch both of them throw, put a side by side up of both of them throw. Like
I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's why Justin looks the way he does, and that's why he probably is able to perform at a different level and look different than somebody like Dak did when he came off of a similar situation.
So I guess my point in asking is what exactly is you guys' level of concern? Like, do you, especially given the fact, I mean, of course, we've already established that clearly Jalen Hurts is just a tough SOB, but given the fact that how actually they explained it to, how I heard it explained was if this was a playoff game, Jalen Hurts would be playing. And I mean, of course, you don't want to put as much strain on your guy's shoulder, but
I don't know. I think for me, probably on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, I think I'm at like a 4, 5. Because like I think anytime a quarterback's throwing shoulder is impacted in a negative way, it's cause for concern. But at the same time, like we've outlined throughout this discussion, we know who Jalen Hurts is. We know how tough he is, and what he's made of. So
yeah, I mean, I'd probably be right around the same area, like 4, 5 out of 10 in terms of concern. My concern would be more like the other area of his game, the ability to run. He doesn't really take big hits ever. Like he reminds me a lot of like Emmitt Smith. How Emmitt Smith used to like know how to get tackled. Like he just knew how to get tackled, which is why he lasted so long and he got so many friggin' carries and he's one of the greatest running backs ever, right? He just knew how to get tackled to where he never took like a full-on shot. And like that's how Jalen kind of reminds me a little bit of him. But there's still like those hits here and there, like what he just took on Sunday, where he does take a big hit every once in a while. And with a situation like this with his shoulder, like that's just my only concern, especially home field advantage. It's going to be cold during these games. And I just got done saying, like, you feel everything a little bit more in those environments. And, like, that's just the only thing that concerns me a little bit, unless they can get some sort of, like, heat wrap technology on there that they just keep it nice and warm and loose, the muscles in that area and everything. Like, I don't know. I'd be more concerned with that area of his game running, using his legs and getting tackled, than I would be him dropping back, throwing the ball.
So speaking of levels of concern, wouldn't necessarily say this is a level of concern, but what's your level of confidence for Gardner Minshew heading into this game this week?
Oh, he's balling. He's balling. Saturday, he's balling. I don't think there's any other outcome. The dude, it's kind of like a movie script right now. Like, which I mean, God rest his soul. Mike Leach passed away.
That's who he's going to be
Minshew
playing
missed
for.
practice.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. It's written too well, man. I don't see any other way.
Yeah, I mean, so Micah Parsons is going to see what a system quarterback actually looks like this week, because that's what Gardner Minshew is going to do. He's at least that's what he better do, is rely on the talent around you. Like, just don't do too much. Don't make a mistake. Just get the ball into the hands of the guys at the right time, when you're supposed to, how you're supposed to, and let them help you get through the game and win. That's really all he has to do. I think you're going to see a lot more Miles Sanders, a lot more Kenny Gainwell. What is the deal with Trey Sermon?
I have no idea. I've wondered the same thing.
Because I was going to say, like, if there was a game that they could use, like, I know it's crazy to say, if they could use a fourth running back, this would be the game, because you're essentially losing a running back in Jalen Hurts in terms of that area of the offense and what he impacts on that area of the offense. So having another set of fresh legs, would do you some good. That isn't 5'3". You know what I mean? Like, no offense. I love Boston Scott. I love Kenny Gainwell, but maybe having somebody with a little bit more weight behind them. But that's what you're going to see a lot of. You're probably going to see a lot of that. You're probably going to see a lot of Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't think Dallas is going to let you get the ball to number 11. I just don't think it's going to happen.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe not so much in terms of Dallas not letting him get the ball to AJ, but I actually went back to rewatch the game last year Gardner played against the Jets to kind of see exactly how he was utilized. And again, kind of like you said, Coach, that's going to be the example of a system quarterback. All of the things I said earlier today about Zach Wilson and kind of what the Jets want Zach Wilson to do, and exactly the things I saw out of Gardner Minshew. He got out of his drops quickly. He went through his progressions quickly. If nothing was there, he didn't hesitate to dump it off. Or if a running room was there, he took the yards he could get. He was as efficient as he can get. I think he finished 20 or 25 that game.
20
touchdowns.
20 or 24.
You sure?
Was it? Did I see that wrong?
I don't know. One of us did.
25, yeah. My bad.
Sternberger just threw a pick. Or no. Garrett Wilson just fumbled. Never mind.
I'm about to say, who the hell is that? I didn't think that was his name.
I don't know what his name is. I just tried to put some words.
I'm over here like the tight end. Okay. But
he's got a lot of tattoos on his arms. That's all I know.
Just going back to watch that game, what I seen out of Gardner, the one thing that was most notable is the team utilized the hell out of Dallas Goedert that week. Mm-hmm. Like, Dallas Goedert was probably his number one target that week.
Yeah, like 10 catches.
Quarterback's best friend.
2 touchdowns. So he was definitely balling. So him, especially with him returning from an injury, the only thing that really concerns me about Dallas Goedert this week is the fact that we got the same referee calling this game as the one who didn't call the flag when he got injured in the first place.
I did not know that.
That's depressing, ain't it?
Yeah.
He's bad. He's bad. Isn't he the same referee that did the whole like there was no clear recovery when the Eagles played the Cowboys when
I'm not sure.
Malcolm Jenkins recovered that fumble on the kickoff.
What's his? Is it Correnti? Is that?
He's the short white dude, blonde hair, kind of like fit a little bit. The hell's his name? Come on, Quell. You just brought him up. Tell me his name.
I don't remember. I ain't got the information in front of me. I left my other phone in the room. I just remembered that stat off the top of my head.
Tell wifey to get the phone in here.
I'm looking it up. Is it Alex Kemp?
Sounds like a baseball player.
It does.
Yes, Alex Kemp.
That's okay.
Maybe it's not the same guy then. I don't know.
Yeah, I do know.
Well, no, it says it's the same ref.
For the Cowboys one?
Yeah.
Can you share a photo of his face? Never mind. I'll look it up. Never mind. Don't do that. Oh, no, it's not the same guy.
That's what Bleeding Green Nation says.
No, that's
the same ref.
The same ref that...
Or same head ref, I guess.
That didn't call the recovery? That it was a...
Oh, no. Then it's just the same one from the Washington game.
No, yeah, that's who I'm talking about. I was asking about that guy from that game. What was it, like 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Something like that?
You were talking about Cleet Blakeman?
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah.
He sucks. Stinks.
So, one of the other questions I had, do you play Jalen at all the rest of the year? Or the rest of this regular season?
Yeah.
Depends.
Yeah. There is no depends. I'm not even going to lie to you. Yeah. Because the first thing I thought when I saw that he wasn't playing for the next 2 weeks was, so my quarterback isn't going to play football for a month? No. I'm not taking that.
I kind of see both sides of the argument, though. Like, you put him in one of these last 2 games.
Such a fan.
He's it's not even just being a fan. Yeah, he's such a fan. It's not even just being a fan. Like, you gonna take a football player from a hot football team and tell him, now don't play. You're not about to play football for a month.
All right, stop. We can't cut Pierre off. Pierre, go.
I look at it like this. It's like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Yeah. But I look at it like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, is him getting maybe a half of game reps worth the same risk of him possibly getting injured? Like, even more? And to me, that's on one hand, that's not what I'd want to do. But on the other hand, I do get what you're saying, Quo. Like, because it will be, I think it'll be about like 5 weeks, I think. Because they got these next 2, well, this week, next 2 weeks, that's 3.
It'll be 5.
Yeah. So, I see both sides of it.
If they don't win Saturday, he's playing against the Saints.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then they whip the you-know-what out of the Saints because Garner Johnson's he's coming back for that game. You already know he's going to come back.
You think so?
Bro, this entire team is built off of revenge games.
I would hold him out until the playoffs.
A.J. Brown, Tennessee. Nick Sirianni, the Colts. Now you got Garner Johnson against the Saints. Come on, man. It's revenge game.
I kind of feel you to an extent. If it makes you feel better, your narrative died last week when Robert Quinn didn't play against the Bears, but it's okay.
Robert Quinn stinks, though.
Bro, relax, man. No, he doesn't. He's not that bad. I think it's just taking him time to get.
He's just an old man.
I said I choose to hold out about statements on Robert Quinn until after the playoffs. It ain't looking too good for him right now.
I need him to Golden Tate his way into making one good play, so I can be like, all right, the trade was good.
Exactly.
One meaningful play and be like, all right, yeah, the trade was good. Good job, Howie. Your in-season trades suck, but good job.
You know that out here watching that will sit here and tell you that one good play doesn't make a trade worth it.
I know. I saw that conversation between Pierre and whoever that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't
was.
say all that. I'm just saying there are people out here that will tell you that one good play doesn't make a trade worth it.
My man's profile pic is literally like an emoji avatar of him bald with glasses on, and he's out here talking smack.
Here's what I found.
Whoa, Siri, relax.
That was God.
That was God. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
This man, I don't know. He finds a way to dispute every take I make on the timeline, but
he just doesn't like you, Pierre. He don't like you. It's all right. There are a lot of people that don't like me, believe me. And I enjoy it. Every second of it.
What's your expectations for the game going Sunday? I mean, I hear you say Gardner gonna ball, but
he said that.
Oh, you don't think Gardner's gonna ball?
No. I think Miles Sanders is gonna ball. He better ball. He's on my fantasy team, and I'm going to tell you, so he better ball out. But
you don't think the system quarterback is going to system quarterback?
I think he'll do fine. He'll Brock Purdy it up a little bit, and he'll be all right.
Nah. Minshew's going to have his Matt Flynn moment.
Oh, man, 6 touchdowns.
He's entering free agency too, bro. I'm telling you, bro. The story writes itself, man. The story writes itself.
You know what? You know, I didn't even think about it that aspect. You're right. The story does write itself. He keep talking about why you won't let me compete for the starting job, coach. The quarterback goes out. He comes out, lights it up, 5 touchdowns, 31 for 38. 363 yards.
When Gardner said that last year. When Gardner said that last year, I guarantee you he went into the office by himself with no other players and was like, "Yo, coach."
Nobody was around. He coached Sirianni when he walked in the building.
He was like, "Coach, I should start." He said, "Coach, I should start." And then he walks around the corner. He sees Jalen. He's like, "Jalen, what's up? What's up, baby? Oh, my guy."
They make it even funnier because you with the stash make it funny to think about, Mo. Like, look at him.
Yeah, he did the whole. Flipped his mullet and he went, "You want to ride the mud flap, huh?"
I can't even be mad at the guy with a mullet.
I love Minshew, man. Like I sent it on the Instagram chat earlier today, bro. Everything he does is like hilarious, man.
He's high-fiving the hell out of his dick. Dude! Like, Minshew. Yeah. My man was great. Dude!
For the troops, Gardner. For the troops.
Bro, I'm watching the video that you sent to TikTok.
Yeah. Bro, did you see his throwing motion? Like, he's like
it's like a yoga pose. He's like my two favorites is like when the guy puts the picture up of the person with the balloons and he's like, "Why are you holding the football like you're holding a balloon like you're ready to float away?" Or he's like, "I'm gonna have your mom cut your arm off and then cut my arm off and put my arm on you, so you know what it feels like that." Or he's like, "You gotta throw the football like Jay Cutler. You gotta take the cigarette out and flick the ash at them."
But in all seriousness, what do we expect out this game? No Jalen Hurts. Game's in Dallas. The line is moved. It started out at
it's
Dallas
5.5 now.
1.5. Now it's up to Dallas at 6. Last time I seen it.
Ooh. See, I think the Eagles are going to win, but I think the Eagles are going to win because I think the Eagles are a better football team. Like, they have better coaches, they have better players, they're better, like, just everything about them from top to bottom. I just think that they're a better football team overall. Even without Jalen, I think that they're a better football team.
Dallas has injuries of their own that they're dealing with on the defensive side of the ball.
You cut out a little bit. What'd you say?
Dallas, they have injuries of their own that they're dealing with on defense.
Didn't they just lose their DN? Their one DN, their rookie. He just got
I
rushed
think
to the
so.
hospital
And
after a car accident today.
I
Really?
know Leighton Vander Esch. I don't know if he's
Yeah, I
questionable or
seen Van Der Esch
doubtful.
had a neck
Yeah,
injury.
Iron neck Van Der Esch.
yeah. They're already
My
down. Anthony Brown.
My man's got a freaking like.
Yeah, they lost Javon Curse a couple weeks back. They really low at cornerback right now. But I mean, you guys kind of like walked right into my last and final question of the night, I guess. So you say you think Philadelphia is a better team, a better football team than Dallas. It's something I've been hearing a lot lately. I don't know if you guys are into the betting market like I am, but I kind of I cried to sleep a lot of nights for the first 14 weeks of this season because I told myself I should have put a bet in for Jalen Hurts MVP. But at some point, Jalen Hurts got all the way up to minus 135 in terms of the MVP votes. It seemed like a lock. Patrick Mahomes coming off a 3-interception game. All Jalen Hurts had to do was just keep winning. Yeah, sure, he had his 2 picks against the Bears, but 3 touchdowns on the ground gets him up to 13 on the season. One more rushing touchdown ties Cam Newton for the most rushing touchdowns for a quarterback in a single season. I mean, the kid is balling. Yet, because he's not playing this week against Dallas, at a point in time, I mean, wow, the numbers do seem to be trending back in his direction. At a point in time, when the injury was announced, Jalen Hurts went all the way from minus 135 to plus 550.
Tied with Josh Allen.
Yeah. Pat Mahomes rushed the mark. They rushed the market on Pat Mahomes. And as I said, the market has been slowly but surely dropping back down to reality lately. But should the Eagles win this game without Jalen Hurts, do you think that it will hurt his MVP candidacy? Or prove Micah Parsons right that it's the team, it's the system?
Oh, well, I mean, like, my opinion, I think that's an idiotic thing for people to look at it that way, but that's exactly what's going to happen. You know that. Come on, man. There's narratives that got to be pushed and agendas that have to be pushed onto people, and national media has already told you how they feel about Jalen throughout the entire year. Like they just have. Every time there's always a backhanded comment with him. Yeah, he's playing great, but he's surrounded by all these great players and it's a great system. They got a defense with 55 sacks on the year and da-da-da-da-da and all this stuff. And so there's always but with Jalen.
And not to cut you off, but it's just like when you look at the beginning of the season, the whole narrative or talking points was, Jalen, he has all this around him. He can't fail. How if the team doesn't do well, it's on him. And it's like now the goalposts have moved.
They don't want him to be recognized as that. They don't want him to be. It's just clear. Like I don't know how anybody can see it any other way. Like, you look at the guy play, and y'all know I had my doubts and questions, concerns, I guess you could say, heading into the season and after last season. Like, y'all know that. Pierre used to get on me about it all the time, like telling me, like Robert Saleh style, like, I got receipts, bro. Like, don't worry, I'm going to remember you said this, right? But when you watch him play, how can you not sit there and say that he's one of the best players in the NFL right now? Like, him as an individual, he's one of the best players in the NFL. How can you not admit that? And if you always have to have a backhanded comment, but, like a comma after a compliment, like there's no other way of looking at it other than the fact that they have an agenda, they have a perspective, they're stubborn, and they don't want to get off it. They don't want to admit that they were wrong.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Pierre? Do you think this is going to take him out of the conversation or at least ruin his chances?
Because I'm someone that looks at the game of football with context and, whatever other sentiment you want to express, I don't think so because the Eagles' offense, Gardner Minshew can't do what Jalen Hurts does, and so for that, I don't even think it'll have any. Which I mean, of course, in the media it will, but logically speaking, I don't think it should have any bearing on his MVP case. But like Coach just said, we know how the media is.
Yeah, we know the media runs all markets.
And they hate Philadelphia.
Oh.
Hate us.
Tinfoil hat again.
Hate us.
Oh. But as the game winds down, enough about bad quarterback play. We're excited for a good Christmas weekend of football. Is there any one game particularly you guys looking to before we get out of here? Of course, outside of the Eagles game.
Let me look.
Honestly, and this is gonna sound crazy, but I think this game is on Saturday. Detroit
They're
and
all on
Carolina.
Saturday, except for like one, I think.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Detroit
really
and Carolina.
Watch, Pierre.
What'd you say?
Who's going to sneak into the playoffs?
Yeah.
I think Detroit has a really good chance if they win this game because I don't think Detroit will lose again for the rest of the season, at least until the playoffs.
See, like for me, the football fan in me really wants Carolina to get in just because I really like Steve Wilkes. But the logical person in me just says it's going to be Detroit.
How about you, Coach?
All these games suck.
Dang. You couldn't even fake the funk. It's Christmas.
Giants and Vikings.
See, there we go.
I think that's
Vikings
an interesting game because I think the Vikings are frauds, and
Very much.
And I think Dable is built to go into a situation where he's playing a team where nobody thinks they're going to win, and he comes out and he wins.
Funny. I don't want to say I agree with you because I got another game on the book that I'm actually watching out for, but I agree with you to an extent, Coach. This has all the makings of a potential first round matchup.
Yeah,
what everybody want to see.
And with the Giants winning last week too, it makes it even more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's what I was just about to say. If Jaguars and the Giants can pull off a victory here, there's no reason they shouldn't be fully and confident having the ability to go into Minnesota to pull off a victory in the playoffs.
But side note, I have Daniel Jones playing on my fantasy team because Lamar's probably not going to play this week, and I'm in the semifinals.
Dear Lord God, please let Gardner Minshew do something remotely good. Or give me a sign if I need to start Malik Willis. I didn't get it.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Pierre.
I mean, Brock Purdy's going against Washington, which they got a pretty good defense.
Better option than what I got right now.
The thing is, in our league, I didn't even make the playoffs, but I just got Brock Purdy on my team, so Quell can't happen.
And I really was going to go sign him, and it's not even because Jalen Hurts was hurt. This was before Jalen got hurt, but all I could think was I need to give me a quarterback now so I can find me a matchup for Week 18 when I make when I make the championships and we sit Jalen Hurts. Who am I going to play? Hey, look, Brock Purdy. And then Pierre gets Brock Purdy. Then all my guys start getting hurt. Jalen got hurt. Damian Pierce out for the season. Jonathan Taylor out for the season. They just was like, oh, well, your luck's over.
Did you pick up Zach Moss?
I did. I was on it.
Smart man.
Smart man. I'm the waiver wire. But
I mean, put prayers out to me. I got Cole Kmet playing this weekend.
Jeez.
That is the most inconsistent player ever. But if I had to give y'all one game to watch before we got out of here, actually, I think my favorite game of the weekend, honestly, the NFL going 8:15 on the NFL Network. The Steelers and the Raiders play each other. It sucks because it's the 50th year anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, and we just missed week. Gosh, man. Gosh, man.
Oh, it's the 50th.
50th.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, bro.
Yeah.
Franco Harris just died, man.
Yeah, they were going to do a whole thing where they were going to have him walk out to the same spot on the field where he caught the pass and everything. And yeah.
So even outside, I mean, first and foremost, rest in peace to Franco Harris. And condolences and blessings out to his loved ones, all his family, and just football fans around the world. But damn, man, that was just going to be a beautiful moment on Christmas. And just football history reincarnated, and I mean, just a game against two of the historically great teams in our league. So,
yeah, no offense, that game's gonna suck to watch. That game's gonna be so boring.
Yeah, but
it is. I mean, in terms of football, that game is gonna be so bad to watch.
You don't trust Derek Carr?
I don't trust anything to do with that organization, and I don't like watching the Steelers on TV. I fall asleep. Like every week. If they're on the TV, I fall asleep.
Free Kenny Pickett.
Before we get out of here, I got this one thing I want to play.
Speak up. Hey.
This is for the troops, Gardner.
Oh my God. You got to find the video of him in the truck when he rolls the window down. He goes, "What's up, baby? You want to take a ride on the Mississippi mud flap?" And he flips his mullet.
Earlier today. I saw it earlier today.
Oh, man. But from all of you guys,
Christmas Eve, Gardner miss you.
Do we get the Jeff Garcia Merry Christmas Philadelphia?
Most definitely.
Oh man, that might be beautiful. That might be beautiful. That might be the end of the poetic story right there. If we get that, that might guarantee a Super Bowl right there.
I don't know. I'm feeling myself. I just watched the Prince walk off the field and Trevor Lawrence. That's the Prince.
Jacksonville, they went out. They're in the playoffs.
They're winning their division. They're absolutely winning that division.
Yeah, I think they get that. I think they got to beat
Tennessee
and I forget who else. Who the other game is against? But I think we covered everything, right?
I believe so.
Probably. We probably covered more than what we wanted to.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Zach Wilson. More Zach Wilson than we should have.
Makes for good content.
Wait for your friends Blitz. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe from your mom's phone, your friend's phone, your uncle's phone. Bet still stands. We gotta get Coach on the bet. I know Parf ain't here right now, but I know I'll give you $1 if you take every phone in your home and make sure you stream the Philly Blitz podcast on all platforms. Pierre said he'll give you 3. Parf said he'll give you 2. Coach, you gonna give him $4?
Yes.
See, we just making our way up. Somebody gonna be a millionaire just by listening to the Philly Blitz. Tell all your friends.
Oh man.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Until next time, go Birds.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Dallas, you suck.
Yeah, you suck, Dallas.